Life slows down a bit this week as we enjoy those important moments of life. Food, friends, and family. Oh. Or maybe I should say family, friends, and food. Maybe my stomach got me on that one.
I'm not letting a piece of that bacon rest. No way.
Cody notices something really big that we should have caught sooner. To make us feel better, we're blaming you.
All of you get an F. An F, I say.
You guys always notice these things, and so it takes the sting out of how we missed it in the first place.
I still think we blame them.
Then we all get some sewer hose maintenance and inspection tips from one of the cutest instructors I know.
Oh, we got a treat today. We do that barbecue meatloaf I've been thinking about. There's more gloves over there if you want to get in.
Nope, you're good.
You don't think it had enough ketchup in it? Breadcrumbs, or are we doing oatmeal?
Oats. I have no breadcrumbs. Or egg.
Eggs help hold everything together. So do Italian breadcrumbs, but oats work really good too.
Actually, I think I specifically said, do you need anything for your meatloaf from the store? And you said, nah.
Honestly, this is a pretty easy meal to make.
It's turkey, lean beef, fatty beef, and in between beef. Because that's what was marked down at the store.
That's right. I read in an article recently, kind of a depressing article, that ground beef is now about the same price as the U.S. minimum wage in most places.
Oh.
So it's like 4 hours of work. I remember the time that we did the mozzarella cheese and the jalapenos in the center. Try to seal up my cheese hole. A little longer, but you always end up with a little extra bacon. A pound may be too much, but oh yes. Well, you shouldn't wish for time to fly, but I am. We're gonna go 225 low and slow for the first 45 minutes. Then we're gonna back up and kick it up to 325 until it's done, until it's about 160 internal. That'll be perfect. Now we wait. It's the moment of truth. Poke some holes inside of your metal pan. That way the grease doesn't get caught in there, because if the grease gets caught, it likes to just kind of cook around it and it gets really gross. So I usually take a metal pan, poke some holes in it, then just set it in another pan when you're done. Now we gotta let it rest.
No!
And like Tom Petty said, the waiting is the hardest part. And the whole internet is jealous.
I'm gonna poke it.
Don't poke it.
I'm poking it. Poke.
That's my cheese.
I'm not letting a piece of that bacon rest. No way.
It's just almost a shame to cut into it.
Oh, here, let me help you with that.
We let it rest. It was torturous. Oh, I lost some bacon. But I know where the cheese is.
A little bacon roll up.
Tell you what, you take this one, because that's going to be an awesome bite.
It's very presumptuous. I think you're just procrastinating the project that you have planned for tonight.
What project?
Exactly.
In the last 6 months, we broke a spring and did a field repair on the side of the road. We replaced all of our springs in Quartzsite. We replaced a bent spring in Arkansas, and then you guys didn't catch this, I caught it when Angela was editing a video. We have a cracked equalizer that I didn't catch when I was replacing the bent spring a couple of weeks back. Saw it in the video, got with eTrailer, ordered some new equalizers. Now we're gonna change those. And I guess before we even get into this, the moral of the story is, if you're going as far as to replace all your leaf springs, maybe think about going ahead and replacing your equalizers. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive either. And it would sure save you a lot of trouble from having to get under here multiple times like me to do it piecemeal, one thing at a time. But enough crying on my part.
I still think we blame them. We're used to you catching everything. Where were you? And if you're thinking, hey, I've seen a lot of your underbelly, you have.
We're sick of seeing it too.
We're sick of it too.
I'm about ready to buy a new camper just to not have to mess with this anymore.
Proceed.
Really, none of the spring stuff is bad. The best advice I can give anybody, besides do it all, if you're gonna do any of it, just do all of it, is have a couple of jacks and just manipulate them. You'll see as you're going to take the links out here, as you move the jack down, things move this way, things move that way, and it just kind of frees it up. And what I like to do is look inside the bolt hole of the spring, and you can kind of see when that bolt gets a little bit of free play in it, and you just take it and push it out with the flathead screwdriver. But it's patience. It's doing one pump on the jack, maybe a half pump on the jack, give it a little tap, see what it's doing. You just got to feel it out. I don't know any better way to say it, but if you're patient, it's doable. Big crack right here on this side, but this is the bad side back here. Wow, that should not have happened, and I should have caught that way before. That's probably been cracked for a minute. You can tell right here is where we broke that spring, and it was making contact with the bottom of the frame.
All of you get an F. An F, I say.
Look how twisted up that is. I did a little looking around online, and I said, why would this crack? And there's a lot of different reasons. One, for us, this trailer's got nearly 60,000 miles on it, so the fact that anything that touches the highway was still good is a miracle. But a lot of times these will crack from doing very tight maneuvers. When you do really, really tight turns with your fifth wheel or your tandem axle trailer, you kind of got one wheel going one way, another wheel going the other way, and the axles want to fight against each other, and that pressure point is right here. The other thing that can happen is if you ever let your wet bolts go bad or you don't keep these properly greased, they can bind up, and it transfers the stress from the part that's supposed to move to the part that's not supposed to move. But from what I can tell, they do wear out with wear and tear. I have a feeling this one got bad when we bent that spring in Indiana. Judging by the look of that spring, this doesn't surprise me. Not sure what the other side looks like, but we're going to change them both. Stage 3s. Whether I can get a swing on this with my, not an RV professional maintenance person in any way, shape, or form. We should have a jack stand under here, 100%. However, I can't figure out a way to get this low enough with the jack stand on it. Probably not great for the axle to let it hang like that, but these are desperate times. So we need to get this down. You can see how far off we are. So if we lift this front axle, it's going to come up, and that's going to push our equalizer down, making it worse. I can't let it down any farther than it is. So I'm probably just going to have to manhandle this thing into place.
Good job, babe.
Thank you, baby. Now we just gotta do the other side.
Cody's gonna work the other side. I'm gonna go in and see if these two scumbags need dinner. I'm sure they want a few of them. And hopefully that's all the work we're gonna do for the night.
That's all the work I'm doing for the night.
Notice how I said we?
It's really not a hard job. It's like doing springs or anything else. If you have the right tools to do it, you're in good shape. As far as tips go, if you have 2 jacks, bottle jacks or floor jacks, and of course you need to use jack stands, it's easier to have both tires on one side lifted up so that you can manipulate them up and down to get all those bolts to line up. If you find the axle shifts backward or forward, sometimes it's helpful to take a ratchet strap, go up to a jack leg, and pull it just a little bit to get it where you need it. Not hard, just requires a lot of patience. I'm not a professional, so do as I say, not as I do. The first side took us about an hour. The second side took a little more just because we broke a wet bolt and had to run to town to get one. But the whole project probably took me around 4 hours. And before you tackle it yourself, keep in mind, I've had this whole thing apart several times this year, so I'm practiced. But you can definitely do it yourself, just takes a little bit of patience. I've had a lot of comments in all of my videos about springs. I've had people come up to me in person. I've had people send me emails about the Roadmaster slipper spring system. It's an awesome system. I'm not going to do that at this time because all of our stuff's brand new, for one, and for two, the trailer's pushing 60,000 miles. It's not gonna last forever, so we're kind of at the point where I don't wanna put any big chunks of money into it right now. So if we wear this set of springs out, it's probably something I'll look into in the future. It's definitely on the radar, but for now, we're just gonna stick with the stock setup.
Get it?
According to the cutest Cody I know, here are some things to consider with your sewer hose. On occasion, peek inside your hose and inspect that O-ring inside the fitting to ensure that it's not cracked, missing, or twisted, which could cause leakage. Nobody wants that. Although this one is new, we would recommend some disposable gloves during use, or at least some very thorough washing after handling. Don't put it in your mouth. Run your hands along the hose to check the outer wire armor. Ensure no sharp gravel fragments are trapped under the wire coils, which could wear through the inner plastic layer over time. Don't sling it over your shoulder. There could be remnants that stay inside of that hose. If possible, rinse your hose. We always use gray water to help with the excess after black tank flushing, and then occasionally we like to run fresh water through it as well. The manufacturer recommends a seasonal deep soak in warm water and non-corrosive dish soap, so we may add this to our maintenance list as well. They also recommend keeping it out of the UV rays consistently. That might be tough for full-time living. Our RV does provide a little bit of shade, and then we just make sure that we inspect it pretty frequently. If you see any damage or cracking, it's time to replace it. Lastly, the manufacturer recommends replacing your primary hose every 24 to 36 months. We followed this rule, but with this style, we cycle out the oldest and have gotten a lot more life out of them when we need to. Thankfully, we've had great luck out of this particular style, which is highly resistant to dragging and crushing. The others, we've replaced annually or much, much sooner because we learned the hard way.
What are you looking for?
I need you to pull the lid up on the trash can so it doesn't look like this.
You look so lost.
If you find the axle shifts back to what, if you find the if I go up, this goes down. I feel like usually when I put rubber gloves on and the camera's rolling, it's stuff people don't want to see. Like tank stuff.
Or you probably still don't want to see that.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hands nasty in this stuff. I touch too many things. I'm giving myself salmonella or whatever you get from playing with raw meat. I've been thinking about making this for like
Thinking
a month.
doesn't do it.
325 degrees internal.